Education order. We'll start by administering the oath of office to the superintendent. So, you do your oath, and if you would kindly repeat after me. I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America
I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of superintendent of schools
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
of the
of
office
the office of the superintendent of
That's a long one.
schools
According to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability. Thank you.
This is cool.
All right. Next, we will do the oath of office to the recently elected Board of Education members, and we'll start with Jessica's wife. So, can I just stand up?
How many times it is?
You did it.
What's up with that?
I do solemnly affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States
I do solemnly affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and that I will faithfully discharge
the duties as Board of Education member
the duties as Board of Education member
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
We'll give the second oath to Laura James. I do solemnly swear
I do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
as Board of
of the
Education
State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge the
according
duties as
and I will take according to the best of my ability.
And then next, we will give the oath to the district clerk. I do solemnly swear
I do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties as district clerk
and will faithfully discharge the duties of district clerk
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Okay, and now we will take nominations for the election of the school board president. Megan?
I would like to nominate Samantha Hicks.
I second
Are there any other nominations?
Well, aside from her,
Oh. Okay, then we'll take a vote on that if there are no other nominations. All in favor? All opposed? Those abstentions, so congratulations, Samantha, you're the new re-elected Board of Education president. Roll your clerk of office.
Who did the first?
Megan.
I did.
Click on the draw.
Did we decide the standing or not standing?
We all signed.
Okay.
I do solemnly swear
I do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties as president of the Board of Education
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties as president of the Board of Education
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Now I turn over the meeting to you.
Oh, that's great. Okay, and I'm just doing a really bad signature here. 7:15. 24. Okay, here, then you take that. And I just need nominations for vice president. Megan,
I would like to nominate Jessica Zweig.
can I get a second? Adam seconds. Oh, and I get to, I'm not.
No, yeah.
All those in favor of Jessica Dwight as vice president? I don't know why I said that's unanimous. So Linda, right?
You do,
Yeah.
Vice President of the Board of Education. So I do solemnly swear
I do solemnly
that
swear
I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties as Vice President of the Board of Education
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties as Vice President of the Board of Education
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Okay. So we're gonna go down and do each of these appointments individually, of course. Starting with, there was a last one, if you guys saw the email, given the, well, we'll talk about it. I need a motion to approve the creation of the advocacy. I was gonna be like this all night. The advocacy committee, which is charged with communicating state level elected officials on behalf of districts, legislative, and funding priorities. Megan first, Jesse second, discussion.
I think it's a good idea.
And I just, for the record, just wanted to start out as ad hoc when it became apparent that this is going to be an ongoing need, and there is rich resources in this group. We need move on to official. So we'll get it on the list first and then populate it. Okay, any further discussion about the advocacy committee? Okay, all those in favor of approving the creation of the advocacy committee? That's unanimous. I need a motion to approve, appoint up to, or should we read it exact, no more than 3 board members to serve on said advocacy committee. Right, or do I, at what point do I need, do I need a motion, or do I just ask for?
Motion to discuss.
Okay, so Megan,
Motion to discuss.
motion to discuss, gets on the floor.
Yeah.
Can I second that?
Laura just
Get to make a motion.
Yeah.
She just-
There, Lauren, seconded by Lauren. Okay, so discussion for appointing folks on the advocacy committee, if, and
Was Michelle interested in continuing? Because I thought you did.
yes, yes. So she did interact with me ahead of this reorganization meeting. My inclination is to carry on as we have been with the official members of Adam, Megan, and Michelle.
It was official.
Well, there was no
But I'm good with that.
You're right. You're right, there was no official, there was.
I'm good with that too.
It was just those of us who were fired up enough to scream loud
Yeah.
and
And had the
you know,
bandwidth
I'm
and the
always
brain.
loud, so.
And fired,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fired up.
sure.
Yeah, so it's Megan, Adam, and Michelle.
Mhm.
Again, I would just say like, bring different but strong perspectives, and who are really skilled at voicing and boiling down the story.
Okay, so can I make a motion to appoint Megan, Adam, and Michelle to the advocacy committee? Is that what we need to do?
Okay, so I'm just saying
Do we need a
second.
second who is not?
Yeah.
So Lauren seconds that.
Okay, great.
All right, all those in favor of that group? Okay?
Good group. Thank you, guys.
So,
You're welcome.
all right, I'm just gonna highlight some
What were your expectations though?
That's it, okay.
I did.
We're gonna try
The
real
way you
hard.
can boil down financial things will be very helpful to that group
Yeah.
when we're talking to people.
I need, again, so I'm putting the appointment on the table and then the names on the table? Should we just keep doing it like that? So I need a motion to appoint no more than 3 board members to serve on the audit committee. Adam and Lauren seconds. Discussion. Again, just if you guys don't mind me jumping out of this. We have Adam, we have Jess D, who has expressed to me ahead of this meeting that she is happy to stay on.
Alright.
Awesome.
Volunteers.
Yes.
Wonderful.
Awesome.
So we have a full roster on the audit committee. Any further discussion?
Is Adam gonna be in all these?
No,
So we're not gonna say it again after this.
I've just doubled my committee membership.
All those in favor of appointing Adam, Megan, no,
No.
no. I'm looking at the wrong thing. Adam, Jess, and Lauren, the audit. They both start with an A. What do you want? All those in favor? That's unanimous.
Okay.
This is just giving you guys a sense of my day. It already feels like a week.
It's gonna be fine.
Okay. Check that off. I need a motion to approve to appoint no more than 3 board members to serve on the policy committee.
I will volunteer for the policy
Jess,
committee.
geez, I didn't see who got their arm up first.
Oh,
For two,
sorry.
open it,
Motion to.
putting it on the
motion.
table.
Motion.
Adam and Lauren, putting it on the table.
I will-
Jesse's gonna stick it out on policy.
Yep.
I am happy to stay on policy, my one committee.
I will also do that.
Ooh, score. All right. So now we're back to our
You got
our
a tie
three.
for.
Lost it now. Okay, any more discussion? Anybody else want to?
I don't know if this belongs here, but just in noticing, all of our committees are not listed on the website.
Oh, that's
That
a good
might
point. I
be
didn't know
something.
that.
Which one is it?
Only audit committee and facilities committee is listed. And when I was trying to learn about what was what, that information was hard to find.
Yeah, that's good to know.
I would say because historically, the audit committee and the facilities committee were the major ones that we had. Policy committee is relatively new also.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I think a lot of it has been somewhat evolutionary, even just since Sam and I got here, so.
Yeah, policy and.
But good point, it should be there.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Making a
Good point.
point there.
already there, already jumped over. All those in favor, we didn't vote yet, right? All those in favor, what did I say, Sam, Jesse, and Lauren? Okay, that's unanimous. Okay, I need a motion to approve to appoint no more than 3 board members to the facilities committee. Megan?
There is a quick thing I'm curious about. The charter for the facilities committee only has a membership of 2.
The resolution, when it was established, as 2 board members, so we could
Oh,
always
yeah,
amend
see?
that, but.
Oh,
Well, that's.
So we
No,
only
no,
need
you
2
know
of
what?
us.
Jim, it was,
That's better.
remember how it was,
Yeah, I asked Lynn to make
I think Michelle's not
oh,
there.
gotcha,
no
okay.
more than 3, just so we're more consistent.
Currently, it's Michelle and myself, and Jackie, I think, was, no,
On safety.
On safety.
Michelle, yeah.
on it, I think.
it was Michelle and I.
Michelle, I've got Michelle, yeah, so pretty much the remaining, well, we don't, this isn't on the floor yet, did we second? We have second? No, it's not on the floor yet, okay.
I'll make a motion, if somebody wants a second, to approve 2 members to serve on the facilities committee.
Lauren seconds.
And then Lauren seconds, and then discussion. Michelle expressed to me her,
I think she did. great.
her,
Yeah, she did, and,
What's that?
I would like
Be
to
on the
stay on that as well, if that's okay.
so we have Megan and Michelle on facilities. Any discussion? All those in favor, Megan and Michelle on facilities. That passes with 4. Megan, any against?
No, yes.
Any
Sorry,
abstentions?
I forgot to vote.
Okay, so that's unanimous. And then, motion to approve to appoint no more than 2 board members to the district safety team. Adam and Lauren. We're doing 2 or 3? 2. Well, just 2, right?
That's what Kate just said. I just said we've had 2 of them.
That can be 3.
More than enough.
No more than 3, okay.
So the only one in its charter was facilities.
Oh, gotcha, okay. So, for safety, no, up to,
We've
no
had
more
2
than
on
3.
safety.
Yeah.
But we have
Who was
Just-
on it last time? Jackie and.
And me,
and
and I would like to stay on
Did we have, so Adam and Lauren did get it on the floor. We are at, there can be up to 3. Right now, I've got Megan and Michelle
Usually it's.
down as, want to join?
Can we?
Just let me know. I mean, it's my understanding that we could, somebody could join at a later date.
What day of the week?
Thursdays usually?
Usually Thursdays, usually in the afternoon, right?
Yeah.
45-ish, or usually later in the afternoon. Generally.
And March
It's like an in the show.
Right now, I have Megan and Michelle, Jesse's rolling in.
Every, yeah, I didn't think about this ahead of time. I forgot Jackie was rolling off on that.
Yeah, I just, in my mind, it was 2 on those.
You can stay with it, you don't need
Yeah.
We don't need, we only meet once every 3 times a year, right? It's just
Okay, I'll do it.
Oh, there we go, okay. So, Megan,
Don't tell Pete.
Jesse, and Michelle. All right, all in favor? That passes unanimously. All right, we got some robust committee work going on. Well done.
We should break a glass.
Something like that.
What's Sorry, that keeps me off, I'm sorry. Oh, it's not even, I can't even see the full agenda now. Well, so we need to, do I need a motion to approve the creation of a position?
Yes.
Okay. So I just need the language there, I'm not gonna approach it up again. I just need a motion to approve the creation of the advocacy, no, just did that.
5.
The creation of an
Creation of the
assistant
assistant, the 10-month assistant principal.
at the high school.
at the end.
I'll make a motion.
So that's Adam and then Megan. It's on the floor discussion. We did get board notes about this shift, so. Any discussion?
I continue to be pleased with the creative way that you guys find a way to make changes that are to the benefit of the district. Keep up the good work.
All right, all those in favor of creating the position in high school 10-month assistant principal, that is unanimous. Thank you. I need a motion to approve the an administrative appointment at probationary. Okay. Any discussion? Yeah, I don't know why I can't see that.
Just very happy to have gotten someone of Evan's quality to join us. He's leaving a 12-month position to come to this full-time spot because he wants very much the opportunity to be a district review more. So very excited to have him. He's going to be a great fit, building wise and in unit. So excited about his him coming to Averill Park.
Looking forward to meeting him.
Yeah,
He will be at the retreat.
good.
Oh, that's cool.
What's that date again?
August 8th,
Oh, right, okay.
4 o'clock.
And that is here in the district.
Then you in the cafeteria, right?
Well, are they gonna be doing,
And we're gonna do
I'm not
breakout
sure.
sessions.
Definitely the station rotation, breakout sessions.
Sorry.
Location to be determined depending on sometimes. Power to kind of back on, but most likely back on our regular. stop.
okay, so all those in favor of approving the administrative appointment? That is unanimous. And then consequently, I need a motion to approve the abolishment of the 12-month assistant principal position at AP. Jess, and then Megan, and any discussion? I just want to say how much I appreciate how you guys are able to get the positions filled in a way that just makes so much sense. That's all. All right, all those in favor? That's unanimous. Do we are making a motion to accept the district goals? Is that what the motion is? So a motion to accept our district goals for 24-25. Megan, Adam, any discussion?
I think we should just review them.
Oh, sure.
Should we read them aloud for the,
Well, again, first, I want to thank the board for continuing to be consistent with that. It really is the driving factor, as we talked about having quality arrows aligned, especially with decreasing resources. Very importantly, keep those goals the same. As you know, we built a system with the district goals, which are also my goals, and then we looked at our small objectives, and they got as the action steps. That work actually has been continuing. Literally tomorrow, we have a teacher leader workshop, tomorrow and Wednesday. With teachers, we'll start to, with the building administrators, really dive into those goals. This is an important part of the process. The three goals are boy, college and career readiness, much of engaging students in the community, and then digital fluency. Digital fluency being the newest, but no longer new. Used to be data, but we got rid of that one because we felt like we institutionalized that into the culture. So,
And with that, you leave in smart action around artificial intelligence, digital fluency,
Yeah, that would definitely be one of those topics, for sure.
as we weave that into our other things here.
As it becomes part of our regular day-to-day lives.
in a little preview, since you referred to the retreat already, as of right now, the tentative agenda for the retreat, we're going to do the regular station rotation from 4 to whatever it is, 6 o'clock, break for dinner, and then the 2 presentations afterwards. One is going to be by Kim Favreau, who's our student assistant counselor on a prevention needs survey. She does a really good work in her role dual between us and the county on surveying our kids and providing data about the risky behaviors. The second thing is going to be on our artificial intelligence, the work that we're doing there. And that has started that work already, and it's going to give us an update kind of on where it's headed, what we're doing, and those type of things. Very kind of preliminary, obviously, as we're getting going, but it is something that's on our radar and actively.
Consequently, there was talks at CSD this year specifically centered around AI integration into education.
Yeah.
So it's just so happens to be a local.
Can you unacronym that for?
What?
I need you to
It's-
unacronym that for
You
me.
said that
Oh,
it's the.
It's IFSD. It's a national educational conference. I needed information on it, but it was a local resident who gave one of the talks. So it's right here in our backyard. I don't actually know that acronym off the top of my head.
That makes you feel better.
International Society for Technology and Education.
Thank you.
There you go.
There you
Of course. Did
Of
you
course
look it up? Did you have it on
go.
the
No,
top of your
I
head?
know that one.
Oh.
Well, I appreciate that you reviewed our goals because I think our goals are very important in our everyday work and making sure that we keep check on them in all the work we do. So,
And we're going to provide an update on this year's goals at the August meeting as part of the state initiative.
This is a small point that is just language oriented. But goal 1, I think it would be preferable if it said students will graduate with college and career readiness, because the way it reads right now, I thought it first said that students will graduate college and career and be career ready.
Common state law.
Yes. So I think that there's just some language about like how that's phrased that makes it sound like they're graduating college here. And that
Students
is,
will graduate college.
I know the implication, but in terms of it being about students will graduate with readiness for college and career versus.
I don't have any problem with that adjustment if it just further clarifies and solidifies the goal, because we all know what the intent of the goal is.
This is going just on policy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is.
I also have a background in English, so sorry and you're welcome. And I apologize, I didn't catch that earlier, but
So what is the suggestion?
students will graduate with readiness for college and career. Because right now it reads as that students will graduate college and be career ready.
If you read,
As somebody who's had to do a lot of treatment planning and breaking down goals, like the specificity of that.
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of the general term, education to college and career, right?
Right.
I think it's where we've had it. for-
So even if you add students will graduate with college and career readiness, it's whatever. I
what if you added?
wouldn't hardline it if it's,
What if you added APCSD? Will graduate APCSD, college and career ready. So does that help? They'll graduate from
That works too.
our institution. I was just, it
if it
just
doesn't
reminds
feel
me,
like a priority.
it just reminds me of something that where, like people who don't, like if you don't read to the end of something, it means something different. And maybe there was like a counting Bavarians versus older Bavarians, where the younger Bavarians don't probably understand. I'm of course an older Bavarians.
Does that have some like
Does it have a lot of
stressful
implication?
impacts to adjust the language on that? Does it cause any challenges for you
I
guys?
just think it's like, if it's on, is it on anything?
You have to rebrand the whole school again?
Yeah.
As long as it's not on that poster.
It's just in terms of specificity of
So, just give it to me one more time. We'll
students will
graduate
graduate with readiness.
I like it, I like it.
The other way.
Okay,
With
students
college
will
and career
graduate with college and career readiness.
Right?
Okay, are we good? All right, all those in favor of the goals with the language, minor adjustment in goal one? All those in favor, that's unanimous. All right. Consent agenda. I just need, that's Jesse making the motion and Megan seconds. On the consent agenda, there's a lot on there. Any comments?
I did have a question, because I literally just hit me. What is our current open position situation as far as instructional?
We have a phys ed position that we're in final interviews for this week. We have an high school English position that Keith will be interviewing for next week. We have an occupational therapist. Interviews are scheduled for Friday. A music teacher, that one just closed yesterday, so I'm not sure what, but, Keith has all the resumes.
Beginning of August.
Yeah, that's it, okay, beginning of August. And then we have a leave of absence position in special ed that we're looking to fill, and we also have a elementary special ed position that we just got a resignation for.
Friday.
So.
You're feeling good, stable,
Yeah, I think
not
so.
having an anxiety attack?
No, I think we're.
Had a good pool for
Yeah,
all of these
cool, and
positions.
we're still, it's late, but I'm not down to the wire yet, so.
Okay, cool. It just occurred to me, that's all.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
I just want to comment, like, there's a lot to this consent agenda and a lot of appointments to positions that may be viewed as pretty minor, but they're all cogs in the wheel that keep this place moving as smooth as it does. So it's very important and we appreciate that.
The amount of impact that one person is able to have in a positive way is largely overlooked, I think, and even by the people in those smaller roles. So, to your point, there is a lot that goes into this. Yes.
Hearing no further discussion, all those in favor of approving this consent agenda? That is unanimous. Have some resolutions. I do the motion to, oh.
I want this one.
No. Didn't
this
get the
one's
words.
mine.
Okay. To approve the resolution that the Board of Education of Averill Park Central School District hereby reappoints James Franchini, I don't know how to say that.
EDD.
EDD, as superintendent of schools. Superintendent
You
of
guys
schools
should thumb wrestle.
for the period of July 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2029. Approves to the addendum to the employment agreement, oh my gosh, sorry. It's no longer happening. Dated July 15th, 2024, setting forth changes in the terms and conditions of Dr. Franchini's employment agreement, authorizes the president of the board to execute said addendum on behalf of the school district. Megan first. Oh, Lauren, oh my God.
Give it to Adam. You can have it.
Adam, seconds, any discussion?
I just
It's
want
just
to
on the
say thank you to Jim for his fine leadership, actually outstanding leadership to date. And we appreciate that you're here. We appreciate that you want to stay. I know it's not always easy, but I personally think this is a great place to be. And we are a world-class school because of folks like you and the administration we have. So thank you.
Could not possibly imagine anybody else sitting in your seat or walking in your shoes. You do an amazing job, and
Thank you.
the community should be thanking you more frequently, if they only knew. So, thank you. I'm happy to cage match to be able to make the motion.
Whoa.
Personally, I'm glad it didn't come to that.
Yeah, thank you very much.
I just want to point out right now that there are, a handful of districts that do not have their superintendents or have gone through superintendents fairly quickly. And the extent to which that is detrimental to the program shouldn't be lost on anybody. And so the consistency with which Jim kind of manages this amazing team and like the respect that they all have makes me especially grateful that we're able to keep doing that. So yeah, any further discussion? Awesome. All right, hearing no further discussion, all those in favor? That is unanimous, not surprising.
Thank
Oh, my screen, oh yeah, it was long. Okay, I need a motion to approve on the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the assistant superintendent for business hereby designated as the individual pursuant to New York State labor law, section 220, who shall collect and facially review any certified payrolls submitted to the school district by contractor or subcontractor pursuant to section 20. Megan and Laura, seconds. Any discussion?
Just that I do not envy anyone who has to deal with New York State labor law. Because I have to deal with it in my day job related to workers' comp, and it's a pain, so, sorry. But yeah.
All right. Hearing no further discussion, all those in favor? That is unanimous. I need a motion to approve Averill Park Central School District as a participant in the statewide excess insurance purchasing cooperative. Read the whole. An intermunicipal cooperative organized and operated pursuant to section 53A and 4 of the New York State Workers' Compensation Law and section 119O of the New York State General Municipal Law, whereas the district will continue to participate in the plan for the 2025 fiscal year. There is more.
Making the motion.
Oh, Jesse beat you to it. Jesse seconds. Any discussion? I just appreciate what we're doing to Central County. All right. All those in favor? That's unanimous. And that is the end of our agenda. We just need a motion to adjourn this meeting to go into hearings. Is that correct? Okay. Jesse and Megan seconds. All those in favor of adjourning the reorg meeting? That is unanimous as well. And then the end of the
So many motions.
so many motions. What was it? Was it the last meeting that was like super?
Oh, we were lightning quick on some of them.
There was a lot of them.
All right, so we are, by regulation, required to have hearings over the summer for code of conduct and for the safety plan. We'll open up the safety plan one now. Ask Kate to join us. Those that don't know, Kate handles our safety in one of her many roles in the district. Since she's taken this on, we've actually seen a great deal of improvement with her consistency across all 5 buildings. It's really been an addition. She's really got her thumb on exactly what's going on, from plans to our drills to all facets of it. So we appreciate Kate's work in this area, overseeing this, but also joining us tonight. The plans that state there, the changes to the plan are not huge, but there's some things that have been added to the regulations. So she's going to kind of walk through that. You have the version that is on Board Docs, is redlined, so you can kind of see what she's talking about, but it's also obviously up on the screen.
Thank you very much.
as, as needed, but this year we've had a lot of new amendments that have come through. In fact, just this afternoon at 12 o'clock, I received something that Board of Regents had approved, their proposed regulations that go into effect at the end of the month. So I still need to go through those and check everything, so we're gonna introduce all the information tonight, but there's a chance we do make some tweaks before we do the board approval in August, as we just, fine look through that. And I want to thank the board members who've been on the safety committee for the last few years. It's been very helpful as well to have voices and community members as well. So some of the things you'll notice in the plan that we added, there's an increased look to make sure that the transportation department is added, drivers, monitors. We've had a standing member from transportation on our team for many years. So again, I feel we're a little ahead of that one. And you may also have heard through the news, through your advocacy groups, that there's a rise of discussion about lockdown drills and like trauma that it may be causing people to be going through those drills, and people have asked for a reduction of drills, but there's a lot of argument that says we don't need to do less of them, that New York State believes the 4 that we're required to do is the right amount, but that tone of trauma informed drills is going to be going throughout this. So they really provided some clarification for some of that. So you'll see those are kind of the big ones, but there's little pieces as well. So the first page really with information, I don't have page notes, is page 4, section 1. There's nothing in red on section 1, but I will be asking that we probably amend 1B. So make sure that we ensure that faculty, staff, and students receive training. So I'll be actually adding the word students in there. And that, again, while C talks about completing our drills, we'll want to make sure to reinforce that concept of trauma-informed, developmentally, and age appropriateness for our drills. So we'll add a section on that. So number 2, you can see that we had included the transportation department in our team membership. It's been nice that we've had someone go along. Number 6 and 7, I'm not exactly sure, put it off the screen. There's going to be a hearing from our safety specialist, so there's a change of wording of building emergency response planning and emergency response teams, but there's going to be a little differentiation between them. I don't have enough information about what that is exactly tonight, but I do know that's a term that's been coming through and that she picked up on, so we wanted to include in our plans in anticipation of New York State's passing that regulation that came through today. So that was section 1, our implementation of the plan. Section 2 is really what are we doing to be proactive. This is, again, a list of things we do in district, in all of our school buildings, from following our safe legislation, training our staff, wearing our badges, having our single points of entry into each of the buildings. So while we've always said secured entries, kind of talk about it being a single entry. We've got secured vestibules at our middle school, high school. The building project will have that in our elementaries next year. So we're on our way with that one. Sign in, we have an SRO. This contract is attached to this plan as well. That's required. We do the internet safety. We talk about the culture in our buildings through character education, the work of our school counselors. We talk about Kim Favreau and her partner Joe, whose last name I'm not quite sure of, who from Rensselaer County, as our student assistance counselors. But something they wanted to add is at the bottom, and scroll that down. I don't seem to be able to. Very down at the bottom, it talked about trauma-informed drills, so we added that in. And they also wanted us to make sure that if we have behavioral threat teams, which we do have in each of our buildings, and we have had in each of our buildings, they wanted us to describe that out a little further. So we added that more clearly. And Rensselaer County also has a threat team that they're starting. They're in process of it. They've been in process over the last year. I've attended some of the meetings that Dr. Franchini's asked me to go to. And that really came from Governor Hochul after the shooting in Buffalo in 2022. She said we really need to make sure we're looking regionally at the threats we have in our communities and want to include schools in that work. So that's why I included Rensselaer County with that as well. Drills and exercises, section B. You'll see there's a lot of red in this section. Again, number 1, talk about training our students. They're very clear. All of this training needs to happen before September 15th. September 15th is when we know all of our school staff has to complete their online module training. We also have all of our brand new teachers go through Deputy Nichols, so he does a session with them directly, face to face. Our returning staff use an online module for that. Staff has always talked to students on those opening days. If we have a fire drill during class, this is how we exit the room. We want to make sure we're very clear, and it's very intentional that we talk about how do we evacuate rooms, what do we do in a lockdown in this room as well. So we want both of those to happen prior to September 15th so that we can start our drills. New York State's been clear. Drills need to be on different days of the week, different times of day. So that you're in that middle school, high school, you don't always have a drill at 8 o'clock because it's always the same class every day. You have one at 8, you have one at 10, you have one at 12, you have one at 2. So that every time you go to a different class, you know the different exit routes from the different places. So they were very clear about that as well. Again, you'll see about the trauma-informed, developmentally age-appropriate manner. We cannot include props, actors, simulations, or other tactics intended to mimic a school shooting, an incident of violence, or other emergency. I don't think at Averill Park we ever would have thought to do so, but New York State's very clear. Obviously, some places have gone there where they set off sounds that might sound like gunfire, or they might have, people
It's
go
in there when
around.
somebody did it.
Right. So while we had no intention to it, we want to make sure we include in our plan that we do not intend to do so. We need to make sure we're informing students prior to lockdown drills. You'll see the word says we'll be informed of the drill status. They made it clear in the guidance I saw today that it was intended for lockdown drills, not all drills. Because I was like, if we're gonna have a fire drill, an evacuation drill, we have to tell everybody that it's coming and we have to, that it's a drill. I could see its purpose, because again, we don't want to create trauma with a bell alarm going off randomly. But they said really that intention was for lockdown drills. Again, we've done that for years. How do you set up the alarm and have people wonder if this is the real thing or wonder is it a drill? So we have, since you've been here, Dr. Ritchie, have always announced first, this is a drill, this is only a drill, then we hit the button when the alarms go on. So we have been doing that regularly. We want to, they also want to make sure that we inform parents in a week prior to the lockdown drills. So we're gonna have to give notification ahead of time. I understand that. Again, we've always informed after. Some of that is, we want to make sure that people aren't prepared. Like, we tell them the day of, everyone goes and locks their doors and changes their behaviors that day. Whereas a lot of the drills is, we're testing our human responses. Is all of our hardware working? How do people respond in the moment? Were they able to be a flexible thinker? And if we tell you all ahead of time, you already know what your plan is. So I think, a week ahead gives us a little bit of time. They don't know exactly when it's coming, but it does give them a little reassurance when they hear that day, saying, I know, there was a planned drill coming, and today's our day for that. So we will be definitely informing parents and our staff for that. We will use our PA systems for it. Large, full-scale simulations, having the police coming in, having fire coming in. If we were doing large, major practice, and we had students involved, we would make sure we had parent permission. I think back to what you were in Voorhees, when you had done a very large-scale situation like that. We are currently not planning one of those, but if we did, we would need to make sure that we have parent permission for our students to be involved. So that is new. So that section really has, I think, the bulk of the changes that they were looking for.
In the event of some large-scale simulation, just because I am sort of plugged into the social media frenzy, you may want to let the public know so that there isn't some kind of panic. What's going on?
Absolutely. When
Yeah.
helicopters start landing in the
It's
ground.
small
everyone's
town.
coming in. Oh, no. something-
Yeah.
Absolutely.
What do you think? We've even done that when we had chemicals on campus, where we had to bring in the
Yeah.
bomb
Yeah.
unit. It was the back of the building. We didn't even have to evacuate the building. The regulation just said that hallway. But we waited till David was around, publicized it, so in case someone happened to drive by and see the hazmat team out there or something.
Yeah.
So we do try to, you're right. Communicate that.
The public.
Yes. Absolutely. Section C, again, some about the drills, particular drills. That fourth bullet that is marked in, should be read, but the fourth bullet is again talking about the alerting of families prior to. I anticipate that through the safety committee, we'll come up with some kind of information that'll go out early fall before we do any lockdowns, so we can kind of do an annual sharing of information to families about all of our responses. It's not just lockdown drills or evacuation drills. We have 5 different responses we use. So keeping everybody up to date of what those responses can be, and then prior to any lockdown, doing additional parts. So again, I will amend that section before you approve in August. That's later. New York State's been a little bit more clear to us. This next section in E is talking about how to do early detection of potentially violent behaviors. Here's where our behavioral threat team, assessment team comes into play. Again, we've had them in place last year, June in 2023. We completed training. We brought in somebody from the company. We have an online platform we use. The developer of that program came here on site, and we had all of our administrators here, all of our schools, psychologists, and our counselors. So rare to get everybody in a room during the school day, but we did. We pulled them together. We were all trained on the process of that. Some of us have gone to Questar, done additional training at Questar on behavioral threat teams. And it's really standardizing the process. How do you interview? What are the questions? If you need to interview a parent, here are parent questions. If you need to interview a witness, here are questions for the witness. And it just kind of leads you through, here are the questions, what are their answer, and then the team sits down to discuss and analyze that. It's a little separate from providing consequences to a student. That's kind of a different investigation. This is saying we want to try to catch some of these flags we're seeing ahead of time, maybe it's looking into the social media if we can, and putting that information together with the behavioral threat team. So we do have them in place, and we want to keep those to be active teams and keep them as best trained as we can, especially if we have new members that they understand their role with that.
Okay, do you have clarification on what CPLS stands for?
That's the company name.
Okay.
I can't off the top of my head.
Okay, so just the company names
Yeah, it's the
model
company,
for
it's
the
the company.
TCI. Okay.
A lot of schools use the Virginia model. There's another model out there that's very common. They're all very, very similar, but that's the one we're using.
Thank you.
We're gonna, I think that's the biggest sections, but skip down on page 11. Evacuation planning, it talks about transportation will be alerted. Again, anytime we need to have an evacuation of a school, is it at arrival dismissal? Critical that transportation is part of that. They had conversations, where would we go if we need to stage our buses somewhere? They're close proximity to the high school. Do they want to be at the bus garage? Do they need to be somewhere in the community? Do they just keep driving their buses around? That's a valid strategy to use. So depending on the situation, transportation's been part of our planning. And bus drivers have a lot of questions, and we've been regularly answering the questions for them. Been adjusting our plans based on their situations they see, so it's been very helpful. Having them involved, while not public, our building safety plans have transportation and buildings and grounds responses. In each of our responses, what would you do in this situation? Transportation and buildings and grounds is listed in each section, and that was new with last year. We realized they also respond, not just with the building, we respond together. So we really detail down to how many buses do you need to go to West Sand Lake? How many buses do you need to go to Algonquin? Let's put it down in the plan so we don't have to scramble them while you're that day. How many buses would be the lifts for wheelchairs are needed as well. So all of those kind of pieces go through that planning. And that's in building plans, more specific. That's just really the bulk of it. I will just share that we do have agreements with other sites and locations. Jim has copies of those. We also have them in our online drive. There is also a section that's not included here, but in our building plans that I was referencing, New York State was very clear about the maps, what they want to see on a map, what kind of maps they want to see. All of our maps get uploaded to New York State for police. I was at the police barracks one afternoon, because I was invited there. And he's like, let me show you how easy it is. We can get in and see your map. And he went, click, click, click. And there's the map. They can see our school maps from their trooper cars. And it gets shared out. So they're very clear what they want to see. The different type of aerial maps outside. In fact, Trooper Lombardi, Captain Lombardi, is a member of our district safety team. He said, I'd like to join. He is in connection with the drone program for schools that New York State's trying to do. So we're kind of like piloting with them And they are already starting doing drone mapping because the digital image is so much better than anything we could download on the Google Images. So they're working with us right now to do our drone mapping, which is great. And then we have our in-house floor plans going through that. We want to know where are the utilities, where are the exits, do we have them numbered? We're working on that. You know, our parking lots, we're working to label our parking lots so we don't say the junior lot and they're like, I don't know what the junior lot is for parking. You know, we want to call it, you know, pull into lot B, and they can find our parking lots. Right here at the high school, we identified 7 different parking areas. So we want to label them clearly for everybody. So that'll be adjusted in our building plans. We have a safety report that gets submitted to the committee every year, so that's remained in there. Matt so graciously worked on the remote day plan. New York State required this after COVID, that we need to have a remote plan, and they said put that into our district safety plan, so that's included as well. There have been no changes to that. Thankfully, we haven't had to use it much. And then really the last big piece is the SRO contract, which is included in there as well. So some significant changes for this year, and I will go again through all the regulation that we just got to make sure, and I will make sure you highlight any changes you have for August when you go to the report.
Can I also ask, you mentioned the Rensselaer County Threat Assessment Team, is that a particular department with Rensselaer County, or is that multi-department meeting?
Yep, it's really coming out of the county's office.
Okay.
So, you know, sheriffs are involved, mental health's involved, we're trying to get down there. We want to train churches and the religious facilities. We want to train hospitals in the county. We want to make sure everybody understands that response planning that schools are really used to, but the other community members are maybe not, but they definitely want schools included.
It is unfortunately a necessity that everywhere has to have some sort of a plan at this point.
Yeah.
Something that you'll become acquainted with is New York State is really good about sending like 11th hour guidance. It's, what is it, like 500 pages that you have to review that's due by
Actually,
the
it's
end?
short, this one's short.
They do that all the time. Oh
Working
no,
in
it's
mental
reality. I'm not being sarcastic.
Yeah, working in mental health and the Office of Mental Health, often the same thing. And when I was at the county, we would joke that they were often building the thing while it was in the media.
This one I feel is well planned. There is one other change that they're anticipating that's gonna happen in July of 2025. It's changing the word lockout. Lockout means lock your doors. There's a bear in the backyard. Don't go outside, have everybody stay in. Or they're gonna have SWAT, they're going to a house next door, so they're gonna want your school to lock out, so that we're not letting in people while they're in the area. They're changing the word to secure. Because lockout and lockdown get confused.
Yeah.
You get nervous in that moment, you heard one of them, it said lock, and you go into lockdown status because you're like, I don't know what they said, so I better lock down.
Yeah.
It's, so they're trying to change that word lock to secure, lockout to secure. Right now, we're using the term secure lockout, so we're putting them together.
And so the implication being that the secure / lockout is something going on that is not
It's outside.
necessarily with the school, but could tangentially.
It's outside your building, so lock inside, lock out. If it happens inside, then we obviously lock.
Yeah, like a bear.
So secure will be another word that we're gonna start using with lockout as well.
If I could make a suggestion, just in terms of the whole student training and engagement with families and things like that, if there was a more intentional something related to the plans and what we do over the course of the year and the preparedness included in maybe in the back to school nights or just something more specific.
Yep.
Rather than sort of a cursory mention, something very like intentional, maybe a table at the high school night, because there's the way that you guys have been doing the back to school night with the department tables outside is really great. So if there was a facilities table that if you were, you know, so you having somebody to talk about all of that, and the parent nights, I think it would also help engage the parents in the community so that they feel like part of the solution and they don't feel so sort of separated from us.
Yeah, I would agree with that, because as a parent in the district, and I too have borne witness to somebody saying, I heard such and such happen in high school and that, or whichever school, and it spread like wildfire, which obviously you can't do anything about, and you can't always give credence to that sort of behavior. But I think professionally, I understand why as a parent, you're not going to hear specifics about who it was or what any disciplinary action was, and that there's confidentiality with that. But I don't, as a parent, I've never heard before that the district cannot release specific building safety plans. And once I heard that here, I'm like, oh, that makes total sense.
Yes.
You know, you want to keep that private so that it's not breached. But I don't know that I ever knew that as a parent.
Mm-hmm.
And when those incidents have happened and parents, and I know after things are dealt with, you always send out an email like to the district, hey, this happened, you know, informing as they do with other like building matters. But I don't know that I ever knew from a parent perspective that this is what we can tell you and what we can, and this is why. And that even would, I think, help to ease, you know, some of the speculation that happens, I guess. Or
Some proactive engagement, because I get a lot of questions, well, is there a policy for this? Well, as a matter of fact, there are thousands of policies. And this is where you can find them. But I just, you know, I think on our part, being more proactively engaged and deliberately sharing, you know, what's there and just sort of forcing that engagement, I think it will be helpful to sort of reassure, and especially too, because I think we have new families in the area, and I think we have, you know, incoming kindergartners who are first in their family, and so new parents who've never been through this before, it's so scary being like a new parent, so, yeah, just a thought.
just in general, like I'm really glad to hear, like as somebody in the mental health field, the attention being paid to the mental health response, just from the idea of the work that districts are already doing for social emotional learning and engaging with that topic of how our nervous system responds to, you know, even transition or like high energy things. And I'm really, really excited to hear that they're having discussions of how to tend to that for both staff and students.
We have some side plans that all kind of tangentially connect, and one of them we do it like, you know, we have emergency in our communities. There was a student death, there's a staff death, and we have, you know, templates already written out, some language there, so that we kind of have a procedure that we know where we can lean on to, because when we get emotional in that moment, did we forget something, did we not? So again, we also have that kind of support as well, and making sure our counselors and everybody are involved.
Yeah, that's really great.
I appreciate your keen eye in terms of what we're mandated to do, but also to do what's right for us. And I really appreciate that.
Great job.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kate. It has been great having Kate handling the safety part. And this plan will go through a 30-day comment period, as will the code of conduct. So we'll close the safety plan hearing, open up the code of conduct hearing. Before I do that, I imagine this green marker pointing in the wrong direction was driving me. Wanted to make sure I saw that.
Now the meeting can continue.
Everyone rest easy. I know Matt will be
Was that like
distracted.
that on purpose? Did somebody do that to see?
Someone's messing
Good job,
with
Matt,
you.
for flipping the green one around.
If anything else jumped out at you, let me know. Moving on to the code of conduct. Very, very minor changes. So I'll turn over to Matt. He's going to talk about this. Again, these plans only had to be reviewed if there are changes. In the past, we've had years where we've had no changes and therefore no review. This year, very small review based on artificial intelligence, and no one's more artificial than Matt. So we'll bring him up to take care of the AI thing.
I would just like put that green marker.
So as Jim alluded to, we're going to be doing this as part of our retreat now in August. So I'm saving all my material for that night. This is really just strictly about the code of conduct. I'll just give a little background on how we got here. We do have a team that met for a couple of days towards the end of the school year. We call it the AI Research and Development Team. It was really our first chance to have educators really digging into this, kind of intentionally waiting to see how the landscape kind of shook out over the past 18 months. Specific to the code of conduct, through the work that this group did over 2 days, we really landed, and honestly, talking to a lot of schools, like how are you managing AI in your world? Most schools are doing it through the code of conduct, and that's code of conduct as is was probably suitable enough to handle the types of things that we're talking about. We decided to be explicit in just 2 areas. It's literally 13 words, far less than what Kate had in her plan. It's gonna be a little underwhelming, but it's 13 words to the point where I was like, we really have to do a hearing on this? It doesn't seem substantial, but the use of it is important. It was, intentionally looked at by this group to say, okay, where can we add some language to make sure that we're spelling this out? So on page 32 is the first area. It's under academic integrity. So speaking to the use of AI for the purposes of taking someone else's work and representing it as your own. So we added a bullet that says the use of artificial intelligence when explicitly prohibited by the teacher. So we are, again, we're still in the early stages, but we want to have that teacher to have the ability to use AI when it's appropriate and meaningful. But if they say not to, then if the student chooses to do it, that would be an issue in the code of conduct. The second area we added is even less words. It's on page 41, I believe. And all we have is under the prohibited activities under cyberbullying. We wanted to make sure that we spelled out that using artificial intelligence, really in our group, we talked specifically about deepfakes and putting kids in situations or quite honestly adults as well, that's already happened in schools where students and or teachers are being put into situations through the use of deepfakes to make it seem like they said something or were at some location or were wearing some certain piece of clothing. So we wanted to spell out that obviously that would be a form of cyberbullying using AI. So those are the 2 changes.
I think it's important to go through this. Thank you for the updates too, because I think it's important to highlight those. But I also think it's important for everybody to refresh their memories on what code of conduct includes and how important it is for, management of the district.
Do you actually anticipate more AI
Oh,
happening?
don't do it all this way.
Oh, that's
Be
right.
material tonight.
Okay.
Just code of conduct. You got a
wait,
whole bunch of stuff in store.
I'm the worst about AI. I'm a terrible Luddite, and I used AI twice for that. Like, okay, well, let's do this like a job description. And it felt like one of those things where it's like a freshman in college who waited till the last minute, and they have to do like 750 words. And so there's like 250 words that are meaningful, and then the rest is like.
And
I read that, I was like, I've read stuff like this before. It feels familiar. That's like someone adding something. It's all right. I'm sure there's more.
Oh, yes. There's a lot to it. It's a very, very deep topic that we've discovered as we spent some time together.
Yeah, we just started using an AI tool, not within my industry sector. And I can tell you, it has been very helpful in sort of teaching and learning, where I've got adults on my team who never learned how to write an appropriate work email. So you would be surprised, but it's true. And so then we can utilize Ask Ellie is her name, and she's amazing. But it's just so nice to be able to like plug in a scenario and get like at least a template to work off of, so you can then show somebody and help teach them from that. As a tool, not to replace a human, but to use it as a tool. And this is a conversation that is happening across a lot of business sectors, so I can't wait to talk about it in August. One, just to piggyback off of my comments for Kate for the safety plan, is to include more proactive engagement related to the code of conduct with parents and families in the beginning parts of the school year. And I'm a drum beater for the anti-bullying and the cyberbullying and all of that stuff. And it has come up in the past where, in order to escalate repercussions for sort of repeated offenses, the victim has to continually come forward to continue to report it. And I think that is an area where we sometimes fall off, because the victim doesn't necessarily want to continue to come forward because we can't share what the consequences were, we can't share what the escalation is, if there's issues there. I think if we actively are engaging parents and letting them know what the processes are and keeping them involved, it may help stem and prevent this behavior because not all people show up every day to be good to each other. So, but we don't want them to get away with it just because somebody just gave up thinking that it wasn't worth reporting it.
But it's not. Jim, do you? With that done.
So that, again, this will be a 30-day comment period, and we'll get that on the website, and you'll see both of these again at the August meeting. That'll close the hearing.
So now we can start, everyone's happy, keep going. We can open up our July 15th, 2024 meeting of the Averill Central School District Board of Education.
Grace.
As we stand up and.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Back to you, Jim.
All right. The board in a previous update, our backpack program is alive and well. Here in the district, we have the 2 food insecurity programs, and you see these numbers from the food bank, the regional food bank, who we coordinate our program with at the elementary and high school level. Middle school has their own program separately. And you can see the usage of.
Thank you.
Sorry. Move one marker. So the backpack program obviously has been very successful. It's a huge part. It's a great program. Started before I got here. We rely on contributions from the community, so we like to occasionally talk about it to make sure we're funding it properly. We are in good shape financially overall, but are always looking for donations as we try to continue to make sure we are funding the program appropriately. And we kind of joke that if there's something that doesn't fit neatly into a category, we call Kate. This is one of those things. She's now taken over the food pantry program. Without getting into too much of the weeds there, we did, the middle school tried to go get out of the food pantry to do a little bit better on their own. That required some getting out of and getting in and different codes and stuff, just logistical stuff like everything else. And Kate has been great at coordinating that. So nice that you're here for this. That wasn't part of the plan necessarily, but thank you for your work with the food bank program, as well as all the other things that we have you doing randomly throughout the your time. And then just 2 other quick ones. Again, the board knows about this, but the NYSBA conference this year is going to be held in New York City. Registration opens on July 30th. Just looking to get as many names as possible. Typically, we've sent 2 or 3 people in the past. I've been once to the New York City one. My memory of that is it filled up quickly. There was the one hotel where everything was at, and then there was another hotel where things were not at. And obviously better for everyone to be in the hotel it's at if possible. Linda's always on top of these things. So the earlier we can get information to her, the better chance we get into the main hotel and be in the same spot as the majority of the venue functions. I can't wait to see what Mosaic's going to do this year. Very excited. It's going to be great.
What are the dates again for that?
20 through 22.
October 20 to 22. So,
Okay.
again, we don't need an answer tonight, but if you could, I think probably the best way, Sam, correct me if I'm wrong, if you have an interest, at least email, obviously include Samantha as the board president and Linda as the district clerk. And if we get to a tipping point of people, we'll let you know. If the board wants to, certainly can send 5, 6 people or whatever, you can do that. It's just obviously a cost. So we've in the past have limited that to, again, 2 or 3, depending on the past. You can have more than 4 the quorum rule doesn't apply there because of the conference. So you are able to send more if you want, but again, just let us know. And then finally, when we last met, you approved the district's vote on the new water district in Kill. That vote occurred since we last met, approved by a pretty strong majority there, 88 to 18. It's very good news for the building of Algonquin and very good news for the district as a whole. Our plan all along was short-term, so if you ever get questions about the filtration system and the money that we spent, or in some ways say wasted, because now it wasn't, that was part of the plan all along. We had to get off bottled water, and the quickest, most efficient way to do that was through the remediation of the water through the filtration system, which thanks to a lot of people in this room were able to get through. And then through Carrie's work, we were able to get some reimbursement on. So that all worked out very well. This is obviously a huge step for the town, and we plan to tie into that. Once the water line is brought up, Algonquin will eventually tie in to that filtration system. We've already talked about potential reusing of the filtration system and what we could do. So there's some things down the line a little bit on that, but overall, very good news for us. And we're very happy with that, especially as more and more things get tested and minimums get reduced. And all of a sudden, we are not in the water supply business. So the more we can get out of that, the better.
Jim, what's the timeline on the water district?
That's a good question. I really don't know.
I mean,
Yeah,
I'm
I
assuming
don't
we're talking years.
I don't know anyone.
I don't know any specifics, but it generally will take, years.
And then the video, good time to quickly mention publicly, as I mentioned to the board, we have a new communications person. Thank you to Avi for the work he did. He's still with Questar, but as people buy in and out of the service, they have to kind of arrange and rearrange where they get people to and from. So we are very excited. The person we have, Austin Crozier, former student of mine here at the middle school, family has strong ties to the district for many, many, many connections and generations. Great guy, very excited to have him here. And I know he's very excited to be here. And he has experience. He's been with, I don't think I started to say, he's been with Questar, so he's not brand new to Questar's communications. So he comes to us with some experience as well as some community knowledge. So again, very excited to have Austin in this role.
That's okay.
Again, thank you to Paul for that. In the report itself, I was looking through my list of stuff for this week, and Carrie and I have talked about, for those who are on the audit committee, you may remember one of the feedbacks and findings there was some extra training for the board. One of it was on sexual harassment that came from the OSC audit, and the other was on cybersecurity. So at the time of that meeting, if my memory is correct, we kind of talked about, is that something we want to implement going forward? We were not cited, if I remember correctly. The OSC one is just something that's been, I think our auditor brought up, as something that they've been seeing in some of the reports that have been coming out. We discussed it in board leadership back in November and thought we'd revisit it over the summer and then potentially add it to our fall trainings. So again, don't need an answer now, but kind of wanted to put that on your radar. We already do that training for employees, right? We do sexual harassment, we do cybersecurity. So it'd just be linking the board up, the 7 of you, with that to be able to complete similar to the NISBA training that you as a new board member. So I think it's something, I don't want to speak for Carrie or the audit committee, I think it's something they were in favor of overall based on the auditor's recommendations. We thought that something kind of had no harm to it except for some more of your time, which I know is valuable. So we didn't want to just tell you to do it without having some kind of discussion or get some feedback. I don't know, Sam, if you want to talk real quickly about it now or not. Again, don't need an answer today. It'd be something we roll out in September, but wanted to at least kind of throw it out there during the report.
Yeah, I mean, I recognizing that we're all volunteers, I think the best practices will.
How much time is involved?
Do you know-
Sexual harassment one is long.
That's the long one.
It's about 54
45,
minutes.
50 minutes, yeah.
Is it
4 minutes?
Is it a state one?
It's this, well, it's a
Well, if I-
state approved one, but it's through our portal that.
But it's online.
Yeah, it's an online.
So it's not the same one the state uses, so I couldn't just give you the state certificate.
You have a watch party, Jess.
But that's fine, yeah, well,
Yeah.
that's fine.
Whatever you
And
guys
there's
do.
really
think
not
it's
even,
valid.
like, in your
Yeah,
case, there's not even
absolutely.
a certificate of training. So again, depends how you want to do it. If you're already doing it for your work as an annual requirement, in my opinion,
Yeah, I think
that would suffice.
cover
I don't
it,
think
yeah.
you have to do it again. I had the same issue with, I coached multiple teams, multiple sports, and getting a background check and fingerprinted through different organizations constantly. It's sort of like, oh, it'd be nice if I could use the one fingerprint. Yeah. But you don't, you have to pay the thing, and I get it, and there's all sorts of background checks and clearances. But in that case, again, this would just be more, there's no requirement, at least at this point. So if we were to get audited, you could say, oh, all 7 of them either took it at their own employment or here. So I don't think, in my opinion, you need to do anything more than you're doing. But
I'm happy to do it. You do what you gotta do.
Yeah.
We have to do the sexual harassment annually for my company, and the cyber is, you're gonna laugh. We have every 6 months, we have a broad course we have to do for cyber, and then every month we have to complete some like smaller cyber every single month. So, okay, whatever you gotta do. Just bearing in mind that the extra trainings that we do help protect us from a liability situation from a training perspective. And then secondarily, we consistently have practices that we do in this district that become requirements at the state level. And I am always pleased to see when a state thing comes out saying, well, you're gonna have to do this now, that we've already been doing it. So you just let me know what I need to do. It's fine.
Yeah, and Jesse, to your point, we do have employees that are involved in different organizations, and they will reach out to me and say, can you and I've had to write a letter and just say, so-and-so completed sexual harassment training on the state, and the system gives you a certificate. So I think it would work in the opposite. If you had a certificate, we could just keep it on file, and that way if an auditor ever wanted to know, we'd say, oh, she did it for, so.
So if we can get a certificate through work every year.
I mean, I think if you're already doing it for your own employer, a New York State program, I would think it would work the same way as
Yeah.
our employees work. So instead of doubling up on essentially the same training.
But if we have to.
I mean, it would be optional, like you're gonna get removed from the board if you don't, you know what I mean?
Right.
And again, it's all just kind of voluntary optional. So if you had something you could provide in lieu of doing it.
From an auditing perspective, if we if we're communicate or showing that we are doing some sort of comparable education. Like you said, it's not required, so we wouldn't be required to do that specific training, but it wouldn't hurt to share if we were doing something comparable.
Yeah, thanks, guys. I think that's the right thing to do. I mean, personally, I would probably benefit from it. I just really nice. My brother, that's what he used to do. He tried those things.
Of all of the work that we have to do for this, that is like over.
Well, and again, I think it's important to know, like, both of those topics are important to me.
Yeah, you probably don't want to say, like, my brother lectured me at Thanksgiving, and that was my cybersecurity training, so.
He tried to tell me how he caught hackers from like going into a system, and I was like, it was like a
Japanese, right?
whiteboard, and I had no idea. I was like, huh? That's cool. Right on, you're so smart. Sure.
All right, so we'll bring that back in some way, shape, or form to the August meeting and keep it updated.
Thanks, Jim.
Good for you, Adam.
Did
Oh, you could probably
7
teach.
years it took, working
Did
with
you what?
the US Attorney's Office and the FBI.
Good for you.
Yeah.
That's a big win.
It's rare too,
Yeah.
so I can understand. Sam's probably will be right.
He was-
All right.
Okay, that's good on Jim. All right. It's our first public comment session, but I have no due sheet, so we will move over to item number 4, approval of minutes. I make a motion to approve the minutes of the June 17, 2024 meeting. Megan first, Lauren seconds. Any discussion?
I'm going to abstain because I wasn't here.
Thank you. And we're okay with one abstention. Any conversation? All those in favor? So that's 4 and 1 abstention. Yeah. I need a motion to approve a consent agenda, business, personnel, and special education. Megan and Adam second. Discussion. There's a lot in there. Jesse, you're putting on your glasses.
Yep.
Sign.
I would like to thank the Averill Park Booster Club for their donation to allow the volleyball trip to the Penfield tournament. And I did want to note and thank Dan Fairchild for his 37 years to the district and wish him well in his retirement.
The words out of my mouth. Everyone's Mr. Fairchild. Any other commentary on the consent agenda? Okay, hearing no further discussion, all those in favor of passing items 5, 6, and 7? That is unanimous. Item 8, we have.
Can I make a
Yes.
request?
Sure.
I told Mosaic and Tony that they would be done by
Okay.
6:45.
He lied to me. Sorry, guys. All right, let's go find
Now
them.
I'm worried about that Mosaic and NISBA, so.
They're down. They're 10B.
Can we go to 10A and 10B so they can leave?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then we'll-
100%. Come on, this is fun for you guys.
Okay, so I will make a motion to approve the secret resolution involving the upgrades and renovations to the school district buildings and sites as per the attachment.
Thank you. Second, Adam, seconds. That's okay. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion.
I was just gonna thank Tony for all of his extremely hard work and dedication to the district. You do a great job.
Team effort.
Yeah, thank you, thank all of you.
Well, yeah, all of you.
All right.
I don't know if for Lauren's sake, she knows who they are back. I should have said.
I was at that meeting.
Oh,
when I
right.
was
You're
late.
right.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you.
Jesse and Callie from Mosaic.
Yes, thank you.
All those in favor? Approving the secret. Okay, that is unanimous. 10B, I need a motion to approve the authorization of the capital project per the attached. Megan first, Adam second. Discussion. Adam, thank you.
So, as is my custom, I just want to summarize the numbers for everybody
I think that would be
with a
great.
lot of help from Carrie back and forth today, just correcting my math. So the total cost of this investment we're making is just under $40 million, $39.9 million. Out of that price, we anticipate receiving about 28.6 million of the total expense in aid from the state. So the cost to the district is about 11.3 million. Of that 11.3 that we would need to fund, we already have in reserves 2 million. So we need to come up with 9.3 million to fund this. Plus, just a little bit of financing charges as well that we anticipate, because we have to float a bond while we're waiting to be reimbursed from the state, stuff like that. But an important part of these ratios is that for each dollar that we're investing locally, we're getting about $4 worth of benefit because of the state reimbursement from it. So that's really good. In terms of the tax impact, we looked at median residential homeowners, right? And people use average a lot, but if you have like somebody at the top who owns $1 billion home, then the average home is almost $1 billion, and it throws everything off. So I really like median, and we use median. Median is where you stack everything from the biggest to the smallest, and then you pick the middle one, and that's a median. So for the median residential homeowner, this is a tax increase of $63 per year. But I don't pay my mortgage yearly, I pay it monthly, and it comes to $5.25 per month. $5.25 per month is what my mortgage would go up in because of taxes and escrow and stuff like that. So that's the finances of this. It's a pretty small expense, I believe, to get. It's not Cadillac golf courses or something. It's parking lots that work and drainage that works and things that are safe for our kids. So I think it's a really good investment. So anybody have any questions about that?
Yeah, can you send this to all of us for talking points so when we get cornered in the
Sure.
list, we can go?
So along those same lines, when I read the proposition just says 39.9 million and then 37.9 million, but doesn't talk about the median tax impact or all the other benefits that are buried in it. I don't know if there are laws around what the proposition can say or can't say, but at the point someone is actually deciding whether they're in favor of this or not, I feel it would be prudent to remind them that, hey, for every dollar you're spending, we're getting 4 back, that kind of thing. So I don't know if there's a way that we, before we vote on the proposition, if there's a way that we can make that proposition a clearer marketing message than just a
Right,
legal
because when they vote on it,
cost
they
thing.
see $39 million.
Yeah.
It's a gas type of number.
Are we doing newsletter? Can we include all that in the newsletter?
Yeah, so
It's a
this
nice
is drafted by our
oil
bond council, so
Yeah.
we can't change the language to make it a marketing, because they're voting really on the proposition for the project. But the newsletter or other ways that are promoted would be where we would try to explain the story of that. But the proposition itself can't be altered to include those details. It has to stay like this.
So we can, in the newsletter, tee it up like Adam has, and then here's what's be on the ballot. So they understand, like, this is the wording you're going to
Map it.
see,
You're
but
gonna see
here is the benefit.
Right.
I remember at the meeting that you all presented, you discussed that we should figure out what the median income was. But we just didn't have those numbers at the time to break it down to that,
Carry
but
it
I
down
do
for
think,
us.
like logistically breaking it down to like, what does that mean in families' like monthly budget is important, for making it accessible.
So the bottom line is for more than half of our residents, it is a cost of $5.26 per month extra to get this. That's pretty reasonable.
And I think many of our residents would pay more than that to not be in the drop-off line at Algonquin, so. I think talking about it like that at Miller's.
Yes,
Yeah.
oh no, for sure.
Or even, come home with stories though.
But like that 41 is important. Those little snippets are really, really good.
Yes, thank you for that summary.
Yeah.
I get, and you kind of touched on this when we get this out there, that these really are the crucial, these are structural, these are the, I want to say lowest hanging fruit, but these are the most crucial.
Most critical.
Mhm.
The
and from a safety standpoint, from the health and well-being of our students. This isn't turf, this isn't, I don't know what's fancy in school.
Extravagant.
It's not
or-
extravagant.
Yeah,
Um,
but I do appreciate your summary because, in the medical world, we talk about medical literacy and making sure that information and data is given to recipients in a way that's accessible to them. And I think there needs to be that in terms of financial literacy for lots of reasons in all sectors. And that's an important way for people to have like informed consent in terms of what they're voting on. So thank you.
Maybe Adam should make a video.
I would get behind that,
Or the
the
podcast.
podcast.
And then
No, I can do
also, yeah, and then also.
It's a video.
And video. And then also, I think we discussed potentially some public engagement sessions, community engagement sessions, different days of the week or times so that we can, give multiple opportunities for people to come out and ask questions. So we're gonna need to make sure that we are very clear and transparent with all of our messaging on it. And that if they're not gonna vote for it, then they better look like showing up to help us repave. Get out your hammer and your nails.
Drop off a kid and pick up a pitchfork.
I mean, but just to sort of bring it back in, if there's the podcast gonna happen, there's the newsletter's gonna happen, if there's some kind of outage, it's gonna be quick, right? Because this is this
quick
is September
turnaround.
24th that this is coming up. So,
Yep.
back-
And
back
like,
to school.
if there's like a quick infographic of that broke that down on something, I think that can be a very accessible way for different kind of learners to understand that
Similar
information.
to what you showed me from your first interaction related to the board today,
Yeah,
your advertisement
yeah,
for
but I put-
2012. If we can have something like that.
There's gotta be an AI app that makes infographics.
There is.
Don't make anybody's eye twitch.
The numbers are all
like,
slightly off.
Right, yeah.
There's
Or they explain it with too many words.
too many words, yeah. Awesome.
So,
Adam, thank you very much. We'll keep going.
you're welcome. You'll work with your new PR guy and I'm at your disposal for any help that you want, just ask him.
Great, thank you. We've met once already, we've had one communications setup meeting, and then we're waiting for the official approval. So we'd outlined the plan, Tony was part of that, Carrie, and then you all know Brian Radowitz, who's Questar's director now, Turned Up Communications, he's going to help us directly too. So I've Austin, Brian, Tony, Carrie, the team set up, and took the ideas from the last session, have them down, have a plan, including some hopefully some events in the community, as well as social media, newsletter, all that stuff. So,
I just want to say, I know we talked about where we should land in terms of a dollar figure, and we sort of talked about a bunch of different things because of that list being so deep behind this capital project. But I fully support the amount and what the recommendation of the building committee was, the facilities committee was.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just worth pointing out again, because we are going out to the community with a number that is potentially quite scary. If I saw that, I'd be like, whoa, record scratch. But this is part of why I especially appreciate Adam's breakdown, that it makes it a lot less scary. The work that Mosaic has done to zero in on really just what's necessary. And so we don't want anybody to think that we are being flippant with the money, that 39 million is a piece of cake, and that it's not, that money still has to be processed, right? We have to, it's a load of work for Carrie and to process that money through the systems that allow us to actually get work done, get the folks paid. It's not something we take lightly, as kind of shown by the work here. And so as we start going to the community, I just hope that everybody remembers that we're trying to find that balance of keeping the kids safe and having them have a place that they can be proud of, and get parents out of the drop-off line, offered 66 ASAP if we can.
And as someone newer to this process, I could tell from that meeting of like all of the careful thought, planning, and deliberations about what would be necessary, but also, reasonable to ask of our community. And I could, I just had the utmost faith that there was so much deliberation and thought about what that would be and why you all reached that number. So I very much appreciate that work. And I think making any of that information accessible to family and I would also include their understanding of this being different than not only the previous capital project, but also like the school budget because I think sometimes community members or voters just see a big number and will say, what? We just had this amount approved, but don't always have the understanding of the difference in language that isn't typical to the community, some of the language that we're using.
Okay. Well, we got a job to do in the communication.
Yeah.
All
So,
those in favor?
all those in favor, yep, all those in favor, that's unanimous. All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you for hanging out.
If you want to thank Paul.
Yeah, I almost went.
You need any public comment at the end? Still time.
We have so many jokes about that.
Thank you very much.
Covered morning.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night, you guys. All right, let's go back over to action items, 8A. A motion to approve the memorandum of agreement by between Averill Park School District and Dan Fairchild regarding his retirement. Adam first. Whoa, who calls that? I don't know, they all went through. Megan. Any discussion on Dan Fairchild's retirement?
Just want to congratulate him on being a great asset to the district for all these years. He is memorable in his classroom, and he's been impactful. So we're
He was also, Brett, the make you cry scene at the video at graduation. Him walking away with
Oh
his
my
dog.
gosh.
Well done.
Yeah, was good.
He was the actor, but the choreographer and director.
Hearing no further discussion, all those in favor? That's unanimous. I need a motion to approve the memorandum of agreement by and between Averill Park Central School District and Kristen Fassel regarding maternity leave. Megan, Adam, any discussion?
wishing Kristen all the best and for a safe and healthy experience.
Indeed. Okay. Hearing no further discussion, all those in favor? That's unanimous. I need a motion to approve memorandum of agreement by and between Averill Park Central School District and the APTA regarding ECC and conditions. Megan first. Anybody want a second? That's Jesse. Any discussion?
Spell out ECCA for the audience at home.
Extracurriculars.
Clubs and activities.
Clubs and activities.
Thank you.
I got the first half. Did I get points for that?
You do.
Gold star.
Just be safe out on the ski hill, kids. That's what I want to say. Look around, situational awareness is key.
Wear your helmet.
Wear your helmet, but most importantly,
That's a-
wear your
Yeah.
helmet. Pay attention to people around you. Helmets do damage on their own. Okay. All those in favor? That's unanimous. Okay. Motion to approve the agreement by and between the Averill Park Central School District and Behavioral and Educational Contract 24-25 school year. Color be attached. Megan and Adam, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Passes. I need a motion to approve the agreement by and between the Averill Park Central School District and Chelsea Place Psychological Services. Lauren first, Megan second. Discussion. Hearing none, all those in favor? That passes. Go. I need a motion to approve the agreement by and between Averill Park Central School District and the Children's Home of Kingston. Megan and Adam, any discussion?
I did just have a question as it relates to Kingston just being somewhat of a distance. Was that like the only available option?
Yep, and it's a residential placement, so we're not going back and forth every day.
Any other comments?
It's just that you will see that more and more as resources for particular kind of placements become scarce, and so you have to travel for them more often. But wherever possible, treatment or placement is always the closest possible that providers can do and still meet the needs of a child, so.
And it's tricky. Get that. All those in favor? That's unanimous. Thanks there, guys. I need a motion to approve the guidance plan for 24-25. So,
You missed
oh, did I skip one?
G.
Thank you guys. I need a motion to approve the agreement by between the Averill Park Central School District and Northern Rivers. Lauren and Megan second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? It's unanimous. Now I need a motion to approve the guidance center for 24-25 school year. Megan first, Jesse second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? And I need a motion to approve to accept a fleet electrification plan proposal from Cornish Technology for submission through NYSERDA's Flex Tech program funding for the attached. Jesse and then Lauren seconds. Discussions. I'm glad to see this happening, and it's our first and really important step towards fulfilling this compliance here. And,
Long-term health of our
long-term health of our, there you go. Hearing no discussion, all those in favor? That is unanimous. Okay, policy, first reading of 6110, budget planning. Any, my concerns have already been, Megan?
I'd like to make a motion to waive second reading and adopt as written.
Seconded by Adam. Any discussion, 6110? All right, all those in favor of adopting 6110 as is, with the second reading, that's unanimous, thank you guys. All right, 6700.1 is the first reading for purchasing.
Question on this one, like, it seems to be legally used boilerplate. So do we have any latitude in making it more simplified, and has the policy committee reviewed this thoroughly already?
We have reviewed it, and I think a lot of it's just.
Yeah, it came out of an audit, I don't know, do you wanna talk a little bit about the audit? So they had reviewed 6700, correct?
And it doesn't talk about compliance with purchasing through grants. So that was included in our regular purchasing policy, so they recommended that we have one. So it's clearly outlines the regulations in terms of purchasing through grants. Right, so that's kind of the impetus of how this policy has come about.
It's just based on regulatory language.
Yeah, that's what I figured, like, I was trying to wade through it,
Yeah.
boy, it got late.
It was, yeah, it was.
Yeah. And my eyes
There's a lot of nesting in there.
Do I make a motion to waive second reading?
Yes,
Or
you can.
motion to waive second reading and adopt as written.
Okay,
I will
I need a
second.
second from Megan. Any further discussion of it on the table? Hearing no further discussion, all those in favor of adopting 6700.1, that is unanimous, sorry, that's written. Okay,
So, and then I will make a motion to rescind policy 6112, determination of budget priorities, because that is now folded into 6110.
any discussion? I'd like to get things cleaned up. All those in favor? Unanimous? All right, we already did, items 10A, 10B, second public comment period, we have the sheets, board member reports. Hey, we're gonna start with Jesse. and
Sure.
We're just gonna go clockwise. If that's okay with everyone.
Yeah, sure. Welcome to the new year, and welcome, Lauren. We're happy that you're with us.
Megan.
Just want to express my thanks to the administrative team for always extending the invite for us to participate in graduation. I can't tell you how much I love doing that. It is, so much of what we have to do in this role really just sucks, sorry. And so, we do it because we love the district and we love the community and all of that, but it is so just wonderful to sit up there and see their faces in this, very pinnacle moment and know that the work that we're doing is having an impact and we are doing good work. And to be allowed to participate in that with you is really gratifying, so thank you for that. And welcome Austin Crozier to the team. I know the family, they're all just such wonderful people. I'm so excited that we're able to get that opportunity to him to come back and work with us. And welcome him. Happy to be working with you, so.
Well, I think your background is gonna really be helpful, so thank you. This was my first reorg meeting, and it was kind of cool, because it's really set up like, oh, if something happens and the whole district's gonna blow up the administration, we're starting from scratch. And it was pretty interesting to watch, but that's kind of democracy in action too, so it was cool. I really enjoyed it. But I'm glad we didn't blow everything up. It's all going pretty well right now.
You're not the designated survivor.
But thank you guys for being just organized and getting through all of that. So it's well machine. Thanks.
Hi, thank you for the warm welcome from everybody throughout this whole process. I'm really excited to work with you all and your various skills and learn more. Yeah, I know I'm gonna have a lot to learn, so I'm really excited. And that's all I have so far.
Thank you, welcome. I'm very excited to be here, especially on policy. It's going to be. I just want to say again that Jim, you mentioned the backpack program, and I just want to point that out that there's still a lot going on at the schools in the summertime. And there's just a lot of work, a lot of kids getting taken care of. And I appreciate that because, like, families have all kinds of experiences and making sure that hopefully as few as possible kids fall through the cracks in the summer. Summer can be, super fun but super hard. And we want to mitigate the learning loss as much as possible. And I'm just going to say it again, for anybody who listen, that our backpack program that you mentioned, Jim, has been commended around the region. It's known outside our borders as being like a template for others to do what we do. So I just want to congratulate you on that. I'm very appreciative. And that is all. Megan, what was your name?
Motion to adjourn.
Can I get a second for that? Yes.
I just have a quick question. I think you said that we were gonna talk about the dates of the board meeting?
Oh, what we approved
Oh, that,
included the,
which?
oh, that was very, very
Okay, I'll go back and look
So
at
the
that.
list of meetings on there, the changes, Samantha actually pointed it out. So thank you for catching that, the October meeting is during that. So
during the
we
conference.
moved it up to the previous Monday, but that Monday is Columbus Day, so we moved it to Tuesday.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it. I'll go back and find that.
October
Thank you.
15th.
Yeah. It's Tuesday.
The annual date. Seven E.
Are there any?
Yeah, 70 and 70.
Seven.
On the
Consent
agenda for.
Okay, thank you.
So make sure you don't bring it.
It's a good reminder.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't put in October 20th, put in October 15th.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, Megan is gonna make a motion to adjourn. And Adam is gonna second the motion to adjourn, and all those in favor? All right, you don't have to go home, you can stay.
Thank you.
Should I go home?
Did you?
I was worried it should. I
Yeah, we
changed the date on it and I'll send it back to you.
Still have.
Oh, yeah.